Where is he? There's Ryan Jones.
Hey, there's Ryan. Hey, we're ready when Mayor's ready.
Okay, I'm calling this meeting to order Monday, June 27th, 2022 at 6:04 PM. Our invocation tonight will be given by Father Cam Lemons of St. Timothy's Anglican Church. I don't see him. So please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Kong,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Mohovi is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Ellis, Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Thank you.
Public comment. Notice of the public. This time is set aside to receive public comments on matters not calendared on the agenda. When recognized by the mayor, please state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Under California law, the city council is prohibited from generally discussing or taking action on items not included in the agenda. However, the city council may briefly respond to comments or questions from members of the public. Therefore, the city council will listen to all public comment, but will not generally discuss the matter or take action on it. Okay, moving on to introduction of police officer in, oh, is there any public comment? I'm sorry. Okay. No public comments. All right, moving on to the introduction of police officer in training, Oscar Lopez. Police Chief Standridge will introduce police officer in training, Oscar Lopez.
Brought you, little boy. Right over here. He'll figure it out. That's why he's training. So I want to take the opportunity to introduce Oscar Lopez. We were very fortunate when we opened up the police candidate trainee position to get him to apply. A lot of folks in Bishop, he's born and raised here, a family, and he is currently working in the office every day, learning, studying, working out. And so most people know Oscar from his days as a soccer coach over at the high school, which once he gets off training, gets back from the academy, he can pick that back up and get back involved in that if he chooses to do so. But I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce his family, and that way we can publicly welcome him to the team.
Hello, my name is Oscar Lopez. I'm 27 years old. Like Chia said, I was born and raised in Bishop. I'm happy to be here, part of the team. I'm grateful for this opportunity. This has been the dream job since I was a kid, and I'm happy to know that I'm on the right track now to accomplish that. I brought my family with me here tonight. My beautiful wife, Kelly, and our 4 wonderful babies. The oldest is Aiden, then is Mila, Caleb, and the baby, she's 3 months. Her name is Kendall. Yeah, so my wife, she's a secretary and an aide at the Bishop Elementary School, and she's working to become a teacher. She's very close. So we're both on the right track now for our careers that we've always wanted to do. So we're excited for the future.
Oscar, welcome to the City of Bishop family.
Thank you.
Do not go away that fast.
Go back.
He wants to talk, but as you can see, we selected well here. We have wife and him now both working for the community, so we're keeping them.
Yes, that's good. Good job, Chief. Oscar, take this opportunity and run with it. Do as much as you can, as much as you want. Make your dreams come true in your career as you have been with your family, with your life. I wish your parents were here, and I know we'll have an opportunity to meet them later and they meeting us. You know you have all of our support. Anything you need, feel free to reach to any one of us. And it is okay to smile. Yeah, it's okay. Even when you're wearing the uniform, it's okay to smile.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you know your community. Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we're going to have an introduction of the Park Facilities Lead Worker, Willis Dondero. Community Services Manager Dan McElroy will introduce Park Facilities Lead Worker, Willis Dondero.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Unfortunately, Willis wasn't able to join us tonight. He's actually moving from Big Pine to Bishop today.
Oh, okay.
So I will go ahead and bring him forward to council at a time that his life is not so busy. So
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to presentations. A very exciting one. We have Frontier Fiber coming to Bishop, presented by Frontier Vice President of External Affairs, Douglas R. McAllister. Come on up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council, for the time to have a brief discussion about some of the fun plans we're going to have here. Although it's actually just Doug. Anytime I heard Douglas is my mother and I was in trouble. So I'll go with Doug going forward on that. I'm here tonight to kind of give you a brief summary of what Frontier is up to with regard to broadband and the fiber optic project that we have moving here. And I'm very sensitive to these presentations, having sat in your chairs for so many years and having listened to so many presentations. So I don't want to answer questions you're not asking. So I'm going to go through this presentation at a bit of a clip, because I want to allow time at the end for any questions you might have that actually are interesting to you. And hopefully in the process, you'll get the information that you need. I've told several of you that it is one of my major goals to make sure you're not surprised by what's going on. I used to walk into supermarkets and get lambasted because I was in trouble for something I didn't even know anything about. And so I had to figure those things out. I would like to avoid that when it comes to Frontier and you. And so that's what this is about. And we'll have further conversations as time goes forward. If we could just have the next slide. This is not a quote of Frontier. This is my quote. I made this up, but it does represent a culture shift. As in many cases, as unfortunately, so many times that relationship between a utility and the jurisdiction is not always the best. And Frontier is right now in the middle of a major, it's a massive, it's probably, if not the one of the largest fiber builds in the history of the world right now, all over the United States. And they've decided and learned, my hat's off to them for this, is that if they're going to do something bigger than they've ever done before, they better do it better than they've ever done before. And so part of that process is why I'm here, is we're working on, rather than a adversarial, you do it and make it work for us concept, it's more of a longer collaborative. We want to be collaborative with the city, and your staff, Destin and the staff, has just been absolutely awesome when it comes to that. Our goal here is to come here and say, here's what we'd like to do. Tell us what we're doing wrong so that we don't do those things wrong. So we can move as fast as possible to bring the product, but not at the expense of your city or your citizens. And so that discussion has already been happening. We've had all hands meetings for that. And your team has been great about that. But part of that is this whole concept here of doing it better. It means we're going to be collaborative in this whole process. And that's going to result in good things for all of us. Next slide, please. There are several bullet points there, none of which I can read from here. The first one, I'm just going to skip the slide because I can't read it from here. There are only three of them I wanted to. Oh, thank you. See, I told you these guys are fantastic. The first one there on the top left corner, the fiber network is 100% fiber from our center office to customer at home. That's a point that is extremely important to make, is that the fiber is coming from our wire center and it goes all the way to your wall. There's nothing where it comes to the community, and then we go copper from there. Copper is a very old technology. When it gets wet, it doesn't work, although lately nothing gets wet. We need to fix that someday. But it's fiber to the premises, fiber to your home, which allows for the speeds we're going to talk about here in a minute. One of the things you're going to like about this is that the households, number 2 there, that have this, I think the studies they've been doing on the Frontier universe, the average number of devices that are hooked up to our networks in each home is 22. I started counting in my home, and I thought, well, I've got 4 computers, I've got 2 cell phones, I've got 3 TV. I mean, I started counting them up pretty soon. I was in double digits, just my house for that. And the problem with that is that under normal circumstances with copper, the more devices you put on those, the slower it goes, and the slower it goes. And so you may have, 100 meg download speed, but you have 2 meg upload. And so now you're pixelated on your Zoom calls or whatever the case might be. And that's just not the case with what we're doing. You will not have those bottlenecks, and it doesn't matter how many people get on there. It's going robust speeds up and down, no matter what, which brings us to the 4th one at the bottom. It's what we're offering through this technology is up to 2 gigs in capacity. Now, when I was in office in Murrieta, and this Verizon came to me and wanted Murrieta to be the first city in the nation to be fully FiOSed. Remember FiOS way back when? They were talking about capacity of the normal DSL was like a hose, a garden hose. And this new capacity they're bringing me was a size of a 10-foot culvert. Well, that was 200 meg. We're talking 500 up or down. We're talking 1 gig up or down, or 2 gig up or down. And I don't even know what size that culvert is, but it's a massive amount of capacity. Yeah, you're going to drive several buses through it, I'm sure. But the whole point for that is that one of those things that back then that did for my city was, it was a city when I was first elected we had 30 or 40,000 citizens. Within 3 years, there's over 100,000, and it was no jobs. But by bringing in this kind of a backbone, we went from that to a better community to a biotech community because of the technology aspects there. And so part of the things I want to work with you on is how to exploit this for your economic development purposes. The rest of those you can read at your leisure. So let's go on to the next slide. This is a picture that the engineers give me that I have no idea what they mean. But within that, you'll see the city of Bishop, and then you'll see areas outside the city of Bishop that are in the county. This represents the build. Most of this build is going to be what we call overlashing on existing aerial, which means it's not going to be impacting your residents as we're going through this. There's just a lot of it, so it's going to take a couple of months to get through. But it is a rather large build, and our goal here is to have all of this done long before the end of the year. As far as right now, thanks to your staff, your team there, it's been extremely smooth so far. I believe that as long as our contractors behave, it'll continue to be so. But should they not, that's what my cell phone is for, is you let me know, so we can make sure that we do what I said we would do there. Next slide, please. This is just a brief illustration about how it works. The first box there is our wire center. It goes from there to what we call hubs. From the hub, that's usually sitting outside a neighborhood. And then the next one is the little box there is kind of it's within the neighborhood, serves about 6 to 8 residents there. And then once someone asks for the service, then from that little box goes to the side of the house. And so from the wire center all the way to the side of the house is full on fiber optic. You're not going to have copper in there slowing you down.
And is that through like the existing overhead cables that you guys use with the phone lines, or is it?
Well, it's not through those existing cables. We're overlashing on those copper cables.
Okay.
So it'll be coming the same route.
Okay.
But it's not, it's not copper at all.
Okay. New cables, but it's not underground. It's.
No. Well, there will be some areas where it will be, where we're not already in the aerial. Then with some of those areas, I think like 20% of the build, and I may have that wrong, but a very small percentage of the build is actually going to be directional bore. And once again, we work with your team
Okay,
on all of that, including where those hubs are set. The idea here is not to put a hub right in front of somebody's front yard.
sure.
So we want to make sure that this is aesthetically pleasing as well, which goes to the next slides. These are examples of that. I don't like these pictures because our rule of thumb is that when we get to there to place a hub or the pull boxes or whatever, we take pictures, and then when we're done, we take pictures because the idea here is that we want to leave it as good or better than we found it. It just so happens that the pictures they took here is because they started off in dirt and ended up in dirt, and so it doesn't look nice. But these are also examples of if I have a contractor that has come through and put these in and is not remediating, I need to get a call so we get that thing fixed sooner than later. It's because we want this to look nice when it's done. Next slide, please. All that leads to the side of the house, and all that is, it's what's called ONT, optical network terminal. It gets to the side of the house, goes in that box, and then from that box, it gets translated from the fiber digital stuff, I guess, into whatever you have in your home. That distance from that box to your router is so small, it's not going to affect your speeds whatsoever. But that's where it happens. So that drop happens once you make the order. We'll be going by all the houses. But it's not until you make the order, if you decide you want it, that we come back out at no cost to you, and we what's called a drop, bring that fiber all the way to the house. The next slide. There are 3 things there for collaboration. Once again, I can't read them from here, but the bottom line here is we're very focused on several things to make sure that there is a collaborative effort on this. This is not one of those things where we're going to come from the big bad corporation and expect the city to do all the heavy lifting. It's quite the opposite here. And so it's very important to me, having sat in your seats, that it is quite the opposite here. The last one here for the escalation is kind of a big one. I am my task and my role is primarily to interact with you. Oh, thanks, Destin. What would I do without you? It's primarily to interact with you and Destin. Our staffs are going to interact with each other beyond that. However, if someone in your staff is having trouble, I think we already had an issue, and Destin reached out to me about something. We took care of it, to where something's not happening that should be happening, and they can't seem to make it happen. Then you still call me, and then I will have a few words with the right folks. And it's funny how they react when that happens to get those things fixed. But the idea here is that I'm a resource to you, and that's where it says escalate here. Is that if something's going on, either let Destin know, he'll call me, or feel free to call me directly there. I think I've given, except for one, I have Councilman, I haven't given you my card yet, but we'll get that to you as well. So you'll have my cell number. Next slide, please. We're very big on communication. I guess we should be as Frontier Communications, but we're very focused on making sure we communicate with your residents. And so these are just examples here. I don't know what the requirement here is what was decided, whether it's 24, 48, 72 hours ahead of time, but we put out door knockers on all the residents where we're going to be doing the construction. There are signs we put out, or whatever else the city asks us to do to make sure we're communicating. Having said that, I am one of those folks that when someone puts something on my door, I open the door, I see it, I take it out, throw it away, I haven't even looked at it. And so you will find times when someone will not see that, they won't look at it and realize what it is, and then see construction coming in front of their house and wonder what the heck, no one told me, even though we tried. And such, I don't care if we tried, they didn't. If someone has an issue and they find out and walk out and they see the construction and they're confused about that, and they reach out to you, you call me. And I'll have someone on my team reach out to them and explain what's going on. Next slide. What this gets into, the pricing for 500 up and down is $49.99. For a gig up and down. And when I say up and down, I mean these are symmetrical speeds. You're not going to get the big, it's a gig, and then but when you try to upload something, it's half that or less. This is symmetrical, and then all the way up for someone if someone's going to need 2 gigs, okay. They have that option as well. One of the reasons the prices are so low is that we've divorced ourselves from content, meaning we're not including packages of all of this premium channels and TV and all that kind of stuff. This is all pure, a huge pipeline of capacity for internet. So when it comes to streaming, you'll be able to do that easily. And you just choose what you want to stream on your smart TVs or using your Roku, whatever else, or your Apple TVs, and you choose that. But this is the highway that you're able to put it on, and so it will work, and you'll work very, very seamlessly. For those folks who like me, I mean, I'm all over the country, but I work out of my home for the most part, and so I'm doing a lot of Teams calls, a lot of Zooms calls. I'm running a good business basically out of my home. Well, a lot of other folks want to do that too. They'll have the ability to do so right from homes here in Bishop and in the county, as well as we expand beyond that. Next slide, please. Okay, this is where we get to the part where I actually answer questions you want to know the answers to. So I stand ready for that.
Well, thank you so much. I know the entire community is beyond overjoyed at the prospect of getting faster internet at a better price than we are currently receiving. So thank you so much. You answered the question I had. I had a constituent ask me a technical question about how you guys were actually going to get to the home, and I wasn't quite sure. So you were able to clarify that. So I don't have any other further questions. I don't know, does anyone else?
I do have a couple of questions. You briefly mentioned it, but you said you guys are going to be installing this at customers' residential homes at no cost.
Right. Once we pass the house and such, and it's ready for service, and you should be able to go online at that point. And in fact, we got to fix that on one issue here. But go online and put your address in, and it'll tell you when that fiber optic service is ready. Right now, if you go on there, apparently, if you're on the copper side, it'll show you that you're already a customer. And then you order it. You just do it online, or you can make a phone call, whatever. We will come out, or our technicians come out, and then do what's called a drop, which means from that little box that will come from there to the side of your house, or that box I showed you there, and then hook it into your system that's in the house. The only issue after that, it should be no change in equipment or anything else, unless your router is not capable of handling the speed that you ordered. It's a lot of capacity, and so and that's also up here for me. The technicians can help you with that.
That was going to be my next question, if there was going to be any rental of routers or any devices. But yeah, a good router is going to be needed, definitely.
Yeah, it is. I believe the answer to that is yes, if you want it. It's some folks just buy their own routers. Go for it. It's
What about modem?
pardon?
What about a modem?
The same way.
Same way.
You can buy your own. You can rent it. It just depends on what people want to do.
Yeah.
But in many cases, what they have in their homes already is probably sufficient. But if it's not, that's the only time that would change. Otherwise, equipment stays in the same on the inside. Go to that box, hooks in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Fails.
Doug, one quick question and then a couple comments. I know later tonight we have something coming before us for broadband. This is basically broadband.
Yep.
So you're taking care of what we've been trying to take care of through Public Utilities Commission for years. It's happening.
Right. There's two categories, and actually it's not that. For the sake of this discussion, I'm going to break it into two categories. What I'm talking about here is Frontier's dime. We're paying for it. This is a private sector business deal. We've looked at the return on investment and all those things happening. And so it's driven by those kinds of dynamics. This is Frontier paying for it, not you, not the federal government, no one else. This is Frontier. Where those areas are, and this is something that's important, where those areas are that the ROI is not there yet. Customer base is not there to justify putting the tens of millions of dollars this is costing in to hope to recoup that at a relatively reasonable point of time. But that's what the Fed money's for. And so we're working with many counties now. I have a whole teams of people doing this to find ways to partner with jurisdictions, with cities, with counties. I'm talking to Inyo about this tomorrow. I'm going to do this with Mono County the next day to try to find ways to partner, if you will, because while it may not make business sense because we can't, our stockholders don't want us to lose money on purpose, But there are so many ways to collaborate with the money the feds are providing. It's just complicated. And so we had to work together on that. And then all the steps, make sure there's not a conflict and all that fun stuff that I walked away from 10 years ago when I left office. That all has to be discussed. And that's what we are doing. And so that those middle mile areas or the last mile areas where the ROI does not fit, we still want to go there. We just have to work with you to figure out how to do that. And that's our goal.
Well, and kudos to you. I applaud, I actually like your concept. Because one of the news sources in the valley, Butthurt Owens Valley, it's well,
Facebook group? Are you talking about the Facebook group?
yeah, and I just, but it's where you can like test the pulse of it. I mean, people go on there and just throw a fit, and this is one of the number one topics. Is exactly what you talked about. The fact that you guys are making the commitment, and like you said, the ROI. I think that's important that you're doing it, but how you're doing it, I can tell you this is like bringing a truckload of beer to a Motley Crue concert for free. It's going to get gobbled up pretty quickly. People are going to jump all over this. So I applaud what you're doing, and I look forward to the collaboration with you. As much
And
as
if
we can do.
anytime, I'm leaving my card here with Destin for you. If at any time, any of you have a question about this or get a question from a constituent, you please call me. I did not want you hanging out there and wondering what's going on and stuff. That's what I'm here for.
And I do like the concept of if you need internet, you buy internet. Wow.
It's just going to be fun.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
One of the things the Frontier needs to really do, and this is part of why I'm here, and I'm here, I mean, doing what I do with Frontier now. And the condition for me to even come back. I was with Verizon years ago, and then when Frontier purchased Verizon, Frontier decided they didn't need this, and they've changed their mind now because if they're going to do something bigger than they've ever done before, they need to do better. And so they asked me to come back, and my understanding was only if we do it right, which means if you screw up, I'm going to call you on it, Frontier, and so we can make sure that we work together with the jurisdictions. And so far, I've been with them for about 6 months now. And so far, they've stood up to what they said they would do, and so I mean to keep it that way.
One last comment, if I may, going up here to do this presentation in person. When you go back to talk to your people, the people you report to, on my behalf, and I believe in the behalf of our community, say thank you. And for the people listening and not knowing ROI, return on investment. So yeah, it's a huge investment that Frontier is doing, and hopefully within a reasonable amount of time, as you said, the return on that investment will show. And yeah, there is definitely an opportunity to work with Inyo and Mono County. As Jim said, later on we have an agenda item about supporting efforts in our community to bring broadband to all of our communities, not just Bishop. So thank you, Frontier, for bringing it to us. We need it.
Hey, Doug, one last question. Has there been a commitment by Frontier as far as the customer service aspect? I know great companies only do as great as until someone actually has to call and spend 4 hours on the phone waiting to talk to nobody.
When I was with Verizon, and then they ended my team when Frontier purchased, and there was the switch from Verizon to Frontier, I left it after about 6 months of double billing and being on the phone and couldn't get anything done. And it got worse and worse and worse. And so that was what led to their downfall. And they came out of that about 3 years ago to a whole new CEO and board and everything else is that whole customer service issue. I believe much of that has been resolved. They're bringing a much better product as well on top of that. Having said that, if you get a constituent that's been on the phone for 3 hours or whatever else, and they call you, you call me. Okay. Now I know I've said that. I'm sure this is on TV and everything else. And so
That's
all
on
the
the record.
constituents are going to call you and everything else. So I would try to go through the system first and such. Otherwise, before they burn up your phones and you start burning mine up. But if they're not getting results, I need to know that so we get those things fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I love your mindset and what you're putting out, the thought, but sometimes that's where it gets dropped off. And there's where it sours people, and that's when we do hear about it. So, but if there's a commitment from your company to make it happen, I Great.
Trust me, I will prove it to you.
Perfect. I got nothing else.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, next presentation. Proposed beer garden at City Park on July 4th, 2022, presented by Eastern Sierra Tri-County Fairgrounds Chief Executive Officer, Jen McGuire.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Thanks for having us. Jen McGuire, this is Michelle Hart. She's the president of our Friends of the Fair organization. We have Holly Cavey, who's also the vice president, and of course, two of our board of directors that are very involved in Friends of the Fair, Director Wagner, Director Parsons. Before I make you a presentation regarding the beer garden, just a few quick updates and announcements. Junior livestock auction completed over the weekend. Staggering numbers on the live sale. Total is $737,680.50. And that's just on the live sale. The add-ons are still live and they'll be live through the end of the week. My guess, the add-ons are going to push a little over 100,000, more than likely. There's a lot of people, because the prices were so high, there's a lot of people that could not get an animal. So you're going to use that money to apply towards add-ons. So we're really excited about that for the kids. Next thing is a high school rodeo. We just finished that up as well a few weeks ago. I'm pleased to announce that per the state directors, it was the best they've ever had. They've had in the last 6 to 8 years. Facility-wise, to those guys, facility means the RV, the setup, the corrals, the arena, the dirt. The dirt is especially important. We've been working really hard on that. And that's not something you just do overnight. It's a process. So really pleased about that, to hear that. A lot of what we do, Friends of the Fair, of course, is our nonprofit 501c3. Oh, one thing also, fair announcement. I want to make sure I announce this. We confirmed Luis Angel El Flaco, who is widely popular in the Hispanic community. So we're excited about having him on opening night at the fair, and it's going to be crazy. We've been getting calls and requests for tickets like you cannot even believe. It's actually more crazy than the Derby tickets. So it'll be an interesting night. With him, he brings a whole entourage of different artists that are very popular in the Hispanic community. So that'll be something really new this year. We're excited about hosting. Thursday night, this Thursday, the 30th, we're pleased to announce a free concert at the small stage, the Saracoso stage. It's the National Guard Military Band. It's a 20-piece band and it's free. And we'll have the wine and beer garden open that night as well. But we're excited about that. That's a great way to kick off the 4th of July weekend. So please come out and see them. So leading into this, Friends of the Fair is our nonprofit 501c3. They're also the master concessionaire for the alcohol concessions on our grounds. With that comes a revenue source for us. We get half of the net proceeds of all sales, and then Friends of the Fair in return invests the rest of the half in capital improvements and infrastructure on grounds. Some of the things they've done to date, we've bought a new tractor, arena groomers, forklift, scissor lift, kitchen equipment, mowers, just to name a few. And most of these items are things or tools are necessary for us to host events, to keep the revenue stream, to keep the tourists coming, yada, yada, yada. One of the things we bought this year, we invested heavily into high school rodeo to make them happy, to get them to come back year after year. Their event is growing and we had to grow with it. We invested in corrals this year, $46,000 in corrals. We still had to borrow on top of that additional corrals, but at least it's a start. We also invested heavily in some electrical rentals, distro boxes, generators, cables, that kind of thing to make them comfortable. And that was another 20 grand. So we're always looking for ways to offset those costs and those investments and revenue sources. And the beer garden was an idea. I've done beer gardens at many events throughout communities with nonprofits. And a beer garden, the idea of that is it's a controlled environment where we sell and serve beer and wine. It would be in the city park in a designated area where you guys decide it's going to be. We have the ABC license, we have the insurance. It's operated by volunteers for Friends of the Fair. All these volunteers are lead trained, which means they're licensee education on alcohol and drugs, which is a requirement through ABC. So they're all trained. The way it will work, I see an area that's just kind of roped off. We will bring some tables and chairs. We've also got some tall cocktail tables. It'll be strictly just beer and wine, no hard alcohol, no seltzers. We'll also have bottled water for sale. Like I said, we can rope off an area. We have stanchions and rope, or we can use some of the work with Destin to get some of the orange fencing and rope it off. We got tables, we have chairs, all alcohol is consumed in this area. People are ID'd as they go in, so it's 21 years and older only in the area. We'll station somebody at the exit and the entrance to make sure everyone in there is 21 and allowed in the area. We'll ID people. There'll be an ID checker at the entrance of the garden. We'll bring our own trash cans and trash. And basically that's pretty much it. We control it, we manage it. Hours would be from 12 noon to 8 o'clock unless it's slow, we wrap up early. We have the ABC license. We have been signed off by the chief. I think that's about it. Unless there's any questions from you guys. Michelle, did I cover everything? All right. Questions?
Have we ever done anything like this in the city park before? No.
Consensus amongst the city and not just myself or the
Sure.
police chief. So, but yeah, it's never on this size before.
So I guess my question pertained more to last year. Did we have issues last year with people wanting to bring their own alcohol and not being able to? Not that you're aware of, they're shaking their heads in the back of the room. Okay, that would be my only concern is that there'll be some people out having their picnics with alcohol and then some people trapped in the beer garden and that making that a conflict. Okay.
Karen, we just noticed throughout the JLA and said you will have people with their Yetis, but we are not to ask what's in their Yetis. So yes, you will have, no matter what event is at the fairgrounds. But this will be a controlled area.
We can control the amount of people in there as well, based on the space. So I have formulas for that. So if, we're at capacity, we're at capacity. If 5 leave, you can let 5 more in. So it's not a free for all. So we can definitely control it.
Yeah, quick question.
Yes.
You have someone at the gate checking IDs, that component. Are there people gonna be watching like, hey, I'll buy you a beer and hand it over the fence? and-
Yes. We bring enough volunteers in for that. We also contract with an outside security company that he actually does security on ground. He's a card security and he has a company. So we'll bring a few of those guys in with us as well.
Okay, well, and I don't know the rest of council yet. Do we have to actually approve this? Okay, just because Jen, you're kind of like the last speaker. I mean, not as fun, but when you do stuff, you do it right. So I have faith in you and I know that, you don't do anything.
Thank you. And I
Hardware.
hope this opens the door, maybe if it's successful, and then it will be, I'm not going to say if, it will be successful. Maybe, we're willing to share it. So maybe, there's a lottery and other nonprofits that want to benefit from it. Everybody's, some sort of lottery system. So next year, maybe it's the VFW or another group that we can help. So.
No, I'd rather have you set a bar and then we know where to go. So thank you.
Thank you.
And one of the questions I asked Jen was, we don't want this activity or 4th of July to turn into a drunk fest. And how do they monitor that? I mean, for lack of better terms. And that's part of the training that their staff has is they don't serve people to get them drunk. This is not their intentions at all. It's just to enjoy a beer or something in the hot sun, which I think, most events you go to nowadays, there's something similar to that. Mammoth has really made a big deal out of the village doing things like this. So thought I would have her come here and just at least explain what she wanted to do.
I mean, I support, I think it's a great trial and, if it's successful, I think all the better. And I'm excited for the fair to have another revenue stream. You just have been gangbusters with successful fair events year after year. So, kudos to you. And I think it's a great partnership that we can test out.
Thank you.
Questions and comments. First of all, thank you for coming and doing this presentation in person. Shade, this might be on an open area. You're going to have tables and stools and things like that. Maybe a shade area.
Provide shade. I've got plenty of easy ups we can put up and provide some
Good.
shade.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure you'll work with Destin and our chief of police, fire chief, to make sure that this is a safe event next to the park. And I know the 4th of July firework is being advertised as alcohol-free. So let's make sure we, all of us, staff, fair, friends of the fair, that we are prepared to answer questions, that we are having this beer fest separately in a controlled environment as an add-on. First time we do it, if it works, everything, it's fine, no problems. Next year, we may do it again. Why not? But this is the first time we're doing something like that. And just want to make sure we know and we mention that is the 4th of July at the park, not at the airport, but at the park. It's advertised as alcohol-free. No problem. And yes, revenue source for the fair, great. I'd rather see you guys doing this and not a beer company just coming in and taking the profits with them.
Right,
This
thank you.
will be back in our community. So
Thank you.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
That is as far as the beer fest. A couple of, since you're here,
Sure.
Luis Angel El Flaco, great. Yes, I have people ask me about it. Yes, he's well known. Thursday, what time concert?
Gates open at 5:30 on Thursday, and I believe he's gonna go on stage probably
Yeah.
7:30, 8 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will suggest not having the band concert at the small stage at the same time.
No.
No, no.
We don't want to compete the sound with each other.
Yeah, sound. No, we don't want that. Are we gonna have a parade Saturday?
We have proposed a parade. Yes, sir. We are going to have a pre-parade planning meeting next week. Trina and Marlo, who are also the chairman of the Mule Days Parade, chairing our parade. So they're working with Caltrans now on that, purchasing the plans from Triad, the detour route, contracting with the same company that Mule Days contracted with and the detours. So we went over all that today, but yes, we're prepared to have a parade. We've actually have quite a few people wanting to sponsor the parade. A lot of businesses coming out of Mammoth that want to sponsor the parade, which I think is great because Mammoth doesn't normally come down here and sponsor things in Bishop. So it
Wow.
kind of opens doors for us.
Excellent. Got so excited that I forgot my next question.
Cattle drive, you're planning to have a cattle drive again.
Yeah, I am. My whole week. No, excellent. As soon as you have the other dates for any other activities, Mariachi Fest or anything like that,
Yes,
feel free to share with us and the community, please.
I will.
Yeah, I know you're going
Get
to,
Mariachi Divas. That's what I want to get.
that's a good
Mariachi
one.
Divas, yes.
Yeah, out of LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I have one other quick question.
Yes.
Are we going to be stamping hands, giving wristbands? So
Wristbands.
Wristbands. Okay, so people can come in and out and then since you're here, what are the other nighttime events and is the entry book available? For
Entry
people
book is
now?
available. We split it up. There's a junior book and an adult entry book. The junior book is online. The adult was actually proofed and approved today. And we'll have copies of that in my office tomorrow. We do have copies of juniors right now that we got out early to some of the schools. Friday night entertainment is a country artist, Randy Hauser with Cameron Marlowe. That should be exciting as well. We got a mechanical bull in the VIP area this year and I'm going to kind of do it Fort Worth, Billy Bob style, kind of change up the VIP look a little bit. Saturday night will be the rodeo. And then of course, Sunday is the Derby. And I hear that there's a group that's trying to do a Ridgecrest versus Bishop Derby theme this year, which I think would be really neat. So we also have a poker run that Cap Aubrey's organizing August 13th, I believe. The proceeds of that he wants to put towards the Derby and towards the fair. That's the first annual poker run. So we're hoping to really elevate everything. We increased ticket prices slightly on the Derby this year, just to kind of control the crowds a little bit. We're working with a gate company to control the gate. We recognize now that we can't, a youth group controlling the gate on Derby night, it's just not going to work. Too many people just sneak in. They know, and everybody knows how to sneak in. So we're going to try to put security in each of the bleachers and hopefully keep people honest.
One more thing,
Yes.
security at the gate on Thursday, please.
A lot of security.
Yeah.
A lot of security, yeah.
Jen,
I've got a company from that manages fairs and festivals, Blackhawk Security. They're my security lead. They're aware that we're having this concert Thursday, so they're gonna beef it up.
Maybe even check bags and purses and things like that.
Yeah, we
Metal
actually
detector.
follow DHP commander requires of us. That's what we do.
Yeah.
A few years ago, they required us to search bags. Last year, they did not, but it's whatever the commander suggests we follow.
Okay.
Jen, while you're here,
Yes.
seems to be
You
the,
should come more often.
that seems to be the theme. Have you, I know we've talked about it, maybe you're after event debriefings, the parking like on Sunday night, getting out different escape routes? Have they?
Yeah, we are actually working with CHP to open the gate near the vet hospital as a route. And I guess in the past, it has been open in the past, but you got to get special permission to open that gate to route traffic through that way. So there's that. CHP, honestly, they just want us to open the gate and people just kind of figure it out in a way in which is actually, it does work. More signage this year, definitely more signage. We're contracting with Rotary and some other clubs to help with parking this year. Try to get people in and out quicker and faster. But definitely, if we're going to have a heavier crowd, we definitely need to open up our back lots, the drive-in areas for parking, and the gate by the vet office will be used this year.
Yeah, I look at it from customer satisfaction standpoint and also public safety.
Yeah.
Once it's all bottlenecked in, who's what?
We have to file permits now through CHP and the state fire marshal on all of our events. If there's 10 people there or 10,000 people there, we have to file permits. We have to have traffic flow plans. All that has to be approved through CHP. So we're working on that.
Again, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paid parking, or?
Parking,
Paid
yes.
parking?
We are not
all-
raising
every
the
day
gate.
or?
Yes, paid parking. We are not raising the gate entrance this year. The cost, as you know, of everything has gone up tremendously. My fare costs alone have probably doubled just entertainment in the
Mhm.
Grounds Act. And I try to bring enough Grounds Acts that gets everybody excited. So they want to come back the next day. They just can't see it all in one day. But yes, it'll be $5 paid parking. You can prepay, you can buy parking online this year to make it go a little bit quicker. But we're working to kind of speed that up as well. We're really working hard to encourage people to buy tickets online. Ticket prices are $10 if you buy online. If you buy at the gate, are $15. So hopefully that'll deter people to really buy online. We're going to utilize, I believe, the Tallman Gate this year by the Tallman Pavilion to route people in, especially on nights of heavy traffic, which would be, I think, well, hopefully every night, but for sure, I think Thursday, Friday, and Sunday nights will be heavy traffic days, and utilize another gate for entrance. I guess in the past, we used to utilize the Mule Days gate, but CHP doesn't like us using that gate. It's just, they don't have enough personnel to help with security at that gate. So we're going to try to use Tallman Gate this year.
Thank you.
Right. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to the Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau update. Executive Director Tani Thompson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and everybody else. That's a hard act to follow. The fairgrounds is a busy place. So thank you for everything that you're doing for our community. Jen talked a little bit about the high school rodeo state finals, and it was by all resounding success. We heard from so many families that said they really love the facilities and all the improvements that you guys did, but also the hospitality in our whole community. So I've given you guys a written report. I don't want to go through all of the details, but some of the highlights. We served the welcome dinner, which was just about 800 people. So many people volunteered. We had like 25 or 30 people cleaning and setting up and serving. It was quite an undertaking. So thanks to everybody that helped out with that. I don't know why I have like a little case of the jitters. I think I haven't been at a podium in 2 years, maybe. So forgive me for that. But yeah, it was a total success. I think we have one more year left on the contract. So we'll be working on a a bid for the future. If I had it my way, we'd have them here forever. It's a really good fit for our community. So thanks to everybody that helped out with that. Switching gears, the visitor center has been very busy. We had almost 1,800 guests in May, and June has been very busy. We're starting to see some international visitors return, which we're really happy about that. And we are open 7 days a week now for walk-in visitors. Fish stocking, the co-op program that we have with our partners at the resorts in Bishop Creek Canyon has started for this year. So Friday, the 17th, we had 1,200 pounds of nice Wright's rainbows from Thatcher, Idaho delivered, and we'll have 2 more stockings. We're looking into some possibly fundraising and looking out for some extra support. As you have heard, the local hatcheries have been hit again and are not going to be able to do as much stocking as they had planned. So I'm in discussions with some of our partners in Bishop Creek Canyon to try to find some more money for some more fish, keep those anglers happy. Our lodging statistics for May, our average occupancy was 68.5%, which is higher than 2020, obviously, but a little bit lower than last year and exactly the same as it was in 2019. So we're calling that a win if we've gotten to the pre-pandemic levels. We are, of course, being conservative with our projections because we don't know what's going on with the economy and gas and the prices of everything. But so far we're holding strong and lots of interest still. People are still requesting information and help with trip planning and things like that. So we feel like it's going to be a good summer and into the fall. Lots of PCT hikers right now. We're seeing they come down to recharge and resupply. And so we've been welcoming them and helping them with lots of questions. Today I had this nice gentleman that walked in, but he didn't approach the counter. He stayed about 15 feet back. And I said, well, what can we help you with? He said, I'm not getting any closer. I just need to know where I can take a shower. And so we appreciated that. It was nice. And we got him set up with somebody. So to the Chamber of Commerce side of things, our board recently held election for our 22-23 board members and executive officers. And I'm happy to say our president for this year is going to be Sarah Frank of the Grocery Outlet. Our vice president will be Cheryl Underhill of Every Service Club in the community. Our past president stays on the executive committee. That's Debbie Yerkes of Alex Printing, who made that beautiful banner that's behind you guys there. And our treasurer will be Sunil Ladd, and he is an owner of the Best Western and Comfort Inn. Our returning board members are Manny Astorga from Astorga's Restaurant, Devin Bhakta representing Cielo Hotel and the Comfort Inn, Tara Frank from the Paiute Shoshone Cultural Center, Karina Corpy from Alpha One Federal Credit Union, and also on the Fair Board, right, still. Holly Mullenix from the Bishop Twin Theater, Neeral Munshaw of Vagabond Inn, Motel 6 and Travel Lodge, Robert Sharp from Eastern Sierra Community Bank, and Gayla Wolf, our favorite community photographer from the Honeybee. And we have a few new board members to welcome, Jen McGuire, and also Justin Snyder from the Toggery. So it's a really good, really diverse group of folks with lots of different interests, lots of different talents. So I'm looking forward to working with this new board. We will have an installation dinner sometime in the next couple months, and we'll let you know about that and invite council and the community to welcome our new board members. I'm excited to say we're going to have our first in-person post-pandemic luncheon, and we're renaming these, rebranded as Lunch and Learn, not just networking, but we will have a 15 to 20-minute program each time, and we're going to do them every other month. The first one's going to be at the Bishop Country Club Golf Course on July 14th. And the presentation is going to be done by Julie Faber and myself to get hopefully all of our business owners that attend up to speed on what we've been doing over the last couple of years and a lot of our new destination development programs. And we also have our first mixer in a long time coming up in August on the 25th at C5 Studios. So looking forward to that. And then Golf Fun Day it's the 9th year for this really fun event. If just as a reminder to tell people, it's not a typical golf tournament. It's designed for people that don't regularly golf, but they like to go out and drive the golf cart and try a few golf loosely themed challenges and win some small prizes. All the big prizes are by raffle. So that's going to be on Saturday, July. Oh, thanks, Jose. On Saturday, July 30th. And right now we're looking for whole sponsors and prize donors and players. So with that, hopefully I didn't take up too much time, but
Can I ask, this is probably a stupid question, but that's okay. Are we starting right at noon for the chamber luncheon?
yes, it's gonna be at noon. We try to get done by 1 o'clock. So we're a little out of practice, but hopefully it'll be from noon to 1.
Okay, thanks.
And where can you take a shower in Bishop? I don't, I have that
I'd
question.
send them to your house.
I don't know.
The closest one downtown is the hostel. They offer
Okay,
showers for
we thought that,
$5.
but no longer the wash tub, right?
The wash tub is temporarily not available, and I'm not sure what the reason is for that. And Kiara, one of our visitor center hosts today, was calling around to other places to see what the options are. I know there's some in Big Pine and also Independence too. And you can go to the Bishop Fitness Center and get a shower, I think, for $10, and that includes
Right, day pass.
gym.
Okay,
There's a sign in the window of Alex Printing right now that says at the Methodist Church Soup Kitchen, there are showers now. I've never actually stopped to read the sign, whether it's an old sign or a new sign, but you might check that out to see if that's an
I
option.
know they do the shower, they were doing the shower ministry. See, a lot of things changed during COVID.
Right.
And so, you know, kind of we're all back still in the reopening phases of things. But I did send the gentleman over to the hostel. He needed to go to the library also, so it was.
right, it's all right there.
Yeah.
Tony, thank you for the report and yeah, probably the first one in person in 2.5 years. I was there at the two, so was Karen Schwartz and Stephen Mahove from council. I don't remember seeing you, so I'm not sure you were there at the dinner, no? Okay. I also heard a lot of compliments from people that we were serving dinner. Great event and kudos to you and all the volunteers that worked to put that together, all the staff at the Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Thank you for the report. Congratulations to the board, to the officers. And looking forward to attending those in-person luncheons and mixer. It's fun. Yes, thank you.
And it's really important to, you know, connect in person. I'm grateful for the Zoom technology, and it you know, kept us all rolling over the last couple of years, but it really, it's, even though I get jittery, it's really good to be in person. So thank you. And Destin was too, and his
Yes.
better half Sue served coleslaw and did
Mhm.
a great job. So thank you. We had 86 volunteer positions that were filled for the full week, because not only did the dinner, but also the contestant check-in and the gates and the ticket sales, and a group of volunteer notaries to process the paperwork for those kids that did well enough to go on to the finals. So 86 volunteers, can't name them all here today, but
And including your husband as well.
he's a voluntold.
I know.
So anyway, thank you for the opportunity to give you an update tonight.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tani.
Okay, moving on to department reports, and those were posted online for all of us to review. Does anyone have any questions? I had one question for Chief Dell. There was a huge increase between 2018 and 2022 in calls, and I just was curious what that was attributed to.
Not sure what happened in May, but the floodgates opened on the medical calls. We
Okay,
had over 20 of them in May.
okay,
That was several events and then just regular call volume. So
okay, all right.
still looking into it.
Okay, I was just like, yeah, it was a big increase. Okay, that's all.
I do. I'm sorry, you
Good.
have more?
No, that was my question.
I do have a few comments and questions, not just for you, but for everybody, all department heads. And also, I like the written report. I really do, because it gives us a lot more information that you may give us in person. But it's information from May. The report doesn't include anything that has taken place in June, and we are almost at the end of June. So besides having the monthly report, written report, and I would like to see it the first meeting of the month, not at the end of the month, because it's almost like 2 months ago. If we can have the written and a short in person with each department head, if possible. As far as in general, the department head reports, I think there are some activities that I'm gonna call it routine maintenance, whether it's sweeping or routine activities you guys do or your departments do within your departments. I don't think we need to see those every month in this written report. What I like to see more, it's a little bit more details about something specific, like at the park, we hosted the Bishop Swim Team Invitational. Just tell me a little bit more about it. There was an incident at the park. Let's say for any department, if there is an event, something happened unusual, whether it was an accident, a fire, anything that is out of the ordinary, if we get informed as soon as possible, that is going to help us when we have people asking us questions. Sometimes I have to say, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. And I have to go back to Destin or somebody else to ask what happened here that I don't know. And this may have happened a week or a month ago. Let me see. I visited the police station earlier today, so I asked some questions to our chief. From Public Works, I saw in the report, congratulations to Hector Martinez on passing the water treatment test. But I asked Destin today, okay, tell me more about this water treatment test. If the report includes a little bit more of information, I think it is gonna provide us more information on this side. That is why I say written is right, a little bit more in person. When any of you attend any meetings, not just tell us you attended this meeting. If you can tell us what happened at that meeting, what was the city's participation, what are we looking forward in the next meeting, just a little bit more of that type of information, more meaningful, I guess. And that's my opinion. If everybody agrees, great, and if not, forget it. Other than that, I don't have any more questions or comments. No. Thank you, Joe.
Councilman Member Garcia, may I suggest that we go back to our regular verbal reports, twice a month at our regular meetings, but then still supply these reports, the written ones, that just can be in the consent calendar. But, I think it's important that there are some real menial things that maybe end up on there, because like Public Works, this is how we keep track of just like a daily diary. And I'd hate to lose what's captured in those, but if we're not just trying to be our only report, then maybe we can still give all that information to you, but then highlight stuff each time too, as well. Like you said, at a significant meeting, and hopefully any significant event, you're notified prior to a council meeting if it's that significant. So if that works for you all, I think we could make that change very easily.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, I agree that it would be lovely if we could have the written reports at the first meeting of the month. Because that was my thought too, as I was reading. I was like, oh, what's been happening in June?
Yeah,
So if we have them in the first, then we're always up to date as opposed to a month behind.
I totally agree. But sometimes, especially in Rich and or Chief Dell and Chief Standish's world, they get behind, and then that's typically why we fall back to the second meeting. So we strive for the first meeting, but and I guess what really could do is just have everybody have theirs on the first meeting. And if they're not ready, they're not ready, and they'll give it to you at the next meeting, but still give verbal.
Yeah, I don't mind the work log aspect of the reports. And I think instead of making people write a more in detail summary of more significant events, they can just report on it just to minimize the workload of having to summarize a more, but you could keep just with like the basic work log, which is fine, and then highlight it at the council meeting, more in-depth summary of significant events.
Absolutely. I think the written report can be a list then. And in their note, they can highlight what they would like to expand more on.
Sure. So it's
Yeah.
not so
Yeah, it's-
labor intensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not just, you have my report. Do you have any questions?
Right.
No. What do you think, Jim?
No, Jose, I agree. And I think we're on the right track. I want to, Chief Dell just did a thing. There was a fire at the bathroom at the park the past 2 weeks. I know I saw cars racing around doing their thing. And I see where you're going. We're kind of missing a period of what's been happening in our city.
Yeah. And like I
It's
said,
not picking on this one component. It's
no,
overall.
sometimes people do ask us questions and we would like to be prepared.
And I will admit that the fire in the restroom was more, I guess, by me, because to be honest, the graffiti and the vandalism to that restroom is getting to be such a daily occurrence. And this is not the first time they tried to start it on fire. So it just kind of slipped my mind as, the ongoing issue that we're having in the park with the restrooms.
You one of those barking dog cameras, like bark, they're kind of scary, but and you think it's-
Joe, was there any damage?
Oh, yeah.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, I mean, it appeared that whoever did the vandalism pulled out paper towels, lit the paper towels on fire. So it burned throughout the wall, into the paper towel, up into the ceiling. And so, quite a bit of damage, probably $20,000 worth.
Okay, thank you. Dan will be next on this grilling.
Let me take it for Dan.
Yeah.
No, I think the three of you are as a council, we need to have a serious conversation. We had a guy up here talk about return on investment. What's the return on investment for camera systems or doing some kind of, if we're going to bathrooms every single day, replacing at $8,000 a week. And it's not just the price to fix a $20,000 bathroom, but the manpower, the time. Where are we missing the boat somewhere else? What's the return on our investment here?
If we need to install any type of security, we should talk about it. If temporarily we need to, probably they're not usable right now, so shut them down and put out a statement in the paper somewhere in our print news media, informing the community this happens, so we have to shut them down temporarily because of that, not because we just don't want to clean them up. So let's tell the community that these things are happening and this costs money and it's affecting the services we are trying to provide at the park.
If I can add something real quick, Council, I know you and I had, Councilman Ellis had met on the surveillance cameras. I'm currently waiting on the approval for grant funding to purchase those cameras. That's why I haven't bought them yet. So once we do, we already have a plan in place to get that camera here. And I've talked with the company about getting it up here expedited and getting it put up.
Do we have the same vandalism problem at the bathrooms downtown as well, or just the park?
Just that one in the park.
Yeah, definitely much more. And I think it really is.
Thanks, Richard.
Strongly suggest that Chief Sanders bring back that graffiti ordinance that we talked about. I think it's time, and I know there was some questions to whether, Sharpies and stuff, but I have a stack probably 3 inches tall, and the majority of the graffiti in there is from the Sharpies and stuff. So it's time to, I think, to revisit that one and bring it back, because it's a daily occurrence in the park.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. It affects our budget. What can we do? What can we do to improve our park with the money we spend on just fixing our park? Yeah, I'd rather spend money wisely.
Well, and if we don't get that grant, we can look at
We
getting the
will
cameras
find,
out of general fund. Yeah.
correct, yes.
Chief Standards, come on down.
Okay. Any other questions for department heads? Okay.
Can I just add a couple things
Sure.
quickly? I always have to add something here. So I just want to let you know that the bike park meeting, I'll be having a meeting tomorrow with some of the proponents of it. We'll get some type of, a land use contract in place with them, by $1 a year or something, but with some ground rules. And they'll also be setting volunteer guidelines of what exactly maintenance means for that, so that we're just not gaining another feature in the park that we need to have more staff to take care of. So I think these young men that brought that in are going to be really good, but we just want to set this up before we bring it to you. And just so you know, I opened bids for the sidewalks on Horace Albright next to the ball field to get those, and we did get one bid that was a good bid. And so talking with park staff, we'd like to wait till swim lessons are over because it's going to really affect the parking in that area for a couple of weeks. So I'll bring it to you all for approval of a contract at the next meeting and hope to start work on August 8th.
Great.
If approved.
Great. All right, then let's move on to the consent calendar. Notice to the public. All matters under the consent calendar are considered routine by the city and will be acted on by one motion. Jim, did you have something you wanted to talk about under the consent calendar? No? No, okay.
Do you want me to talk about something?
No, okay. Maybe you did. Okay.
It was my turn.
Does anyone have any questions, any public comment on the consent calendar?
There is something I'd like to talk about during the, included in the consent calendar. Agenda item number, sorry, Jim. A14. The broadband.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too.
Yes, she did. I believe the way it's written, let me get to that page. The
In the
staff
meantime, Mayor,
report,
you could move forward and take action on the other items on the consent calendar.
Oh, okay, we could do that and just discuss this individually and then bring it back to the next meeting. You want to do that?
no, I don't think
Oh.
we need to bring it back. It's just some comments that I would like to
Oh.
clarify.
Sure, sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, if that's okay.
of course.
Good. We're all good. So the staff report, as I read it, and it says right there on second page, economic impact. Actually, it's budget impact. The Ingemono Broadband Consortium can request up to $200,000 per year for 4 consecutive years. To me, that means our city budget is going to be impacted. It doesn't say anything about the consortium requesting that funding from the state, which I think that's what it's going to be,
Right.
right?
Yes, that I think that should have probably fell under economic impacts because it'll actually see $200,000 of revenue that the SCOG will through the SCOG, the Broadband Consortium is set up. And I just spoke with Leslie Chapman, the county administrator, that they intend to house that person and do all the financial obligations for that project. And I hope I'm not overstepping, but that's all right, Jeff. Yeah. So Leslie just said that tonight. So there are no budget impacts. There will be no cost. And again, it's part of, as the SCOG, that no money can be spent without all 4 agencies agreeing. So that should have been under economic impacts.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure we talk about that. Nothing else.
Okay.
We can move forward. Yes.
No, I'm good with it because it's not, I mean, the question earlier tonight on this one came for me. He answered it that broadband consortium, I thought, is it even needed? Because it sounds like broadband's here. But he answered it in the fact that yeah, they're making a
Huge
they're looking
investment.
for ROI on the city of Bishop to get
Yeah.
it back. But is that going to help Benton? Is it going to help Wilkerson, the outlying areas? So I understand the component of it now. So I'm okay with doing it. It's going to be housed in SCOG and there's no finance. And your question to me earlier was about the financial part. It's not impacting our city. It's for the betterment of the whole
Yeah.
region.
It's just the way it's presented to us in the report. It's just a budget impact.
Right. Okay. And who knows, Frontier, I mean, they're a publicly traded company, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Like we still want to be part of the collaborative broadband consortium for the whole
Yeah.
region. So,
Yeah, and the county and the region as a whole has so many tiny little areas that are without
Right.
any middle mile and that's what these grants would be, to get a planning person to develop and design
Right.
that part of it.
And working together with the private sector, the internet service providers,
Yes.
which it's great that we have Frontier willing to do some investment. So
Yeah, and it's a large sum of money per year that you could probably attract some very talented people or a person or people to be able to do this planning that none of us have been able to afford to do.
yeah,
great. Jeff Griffiths, did you have public comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple of points. One, that historically the broadband consortium has not just been about the build out of broadband, but it's about the implementation and the adoption for both business and the personal community. I mean, the broadband consortium in the past has worked with elderly folks on how you can best leverage broadband, work with our healthcare providers. So it's as much about building as it is fully utilizing the system. And the other point I would make is the grant deadline for this is July 15th. So it's kind of has to be adopted by all 4 agencies or it's just not going to exist for the Eastern Sierra. Thanks.
We're good.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
With no further questions, I would like to make a motion to consent calendar as presented
I'll second
with the
that.
discussion.
Okay. Call for a vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Then we are moving on to new business, fiscal year 2021, 2022, third quarter budgets. Finance.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members. How are you? On February 14th, 2022, the council completed a review of the fiscal year 21-22 mid-year budget, which included minor modifications when compared to the originally adopted budget. Development of the proposed third quarter budget implements a comparable process to the mid-year review, further refining projected revenues and expenditures. The budget impacts are the following. General fund revenues will increase to $10,564,304.35, and expenses will decrease to $9,433,284.52. Sewer revenue will increase to $1,447,319.61, and expenses will decrease to $1,836,777.28. Gas tax revenue will remain the same at $173,406, and expenses will decrease to $166,148.22. Water revenue will increase to $974,008.48, and expenses will decrease to $1,032,407.71. Sunrise revenue will increase to $174,133.22, and expenses will increase to $161,284.82. COPS revenue will increase $193,029.76, and expenses will remain the same at $433,800. City Attorney Pucci has reviewed this item and finds the recommended action complies with the law. The recommendation is council to review and adopt the fiscal year 21-22 third quarter budget. That's it.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I just wanted to say, Jenny, that I really appreciated the idea that, that you were so, safe and protective of our money that right now, we're, all the expenses that you had budgeted in, we're ending up less than that. And that this third year looks that great because of that it could have been easily the other direction. And some of that is your pre-planning. So I appreciate that.
It's the department heads.
Yeah, it's a budget you want to see. It's good. Yeah. Any other questions? Any public comment? Okay. Who wants to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2021-2022 third quarter budget as presented.
I'll second that motion.
I know you want to.
Call for a vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Annual League of California Cities, Cal Cities Conference attendance and designation of voting delegate and alternates.
Hey, I'll take that.
Okay.
Good evening, council. The League of California Cities, now referred to Cal Cities, is holding their annual conference on September 7th through the 9th, 2022 in Long Beach, California. Each year, at least one council member is appointed to participate and attend the annual conference, and usually that council member is the current mayor. Each year, council is required to take action to designate one voting delegate and 1 to 2 alternates who are available to vote at the Cal Cities annual business meeting. This year, the annual business meeting is on Friday, September 9, and it's usually held during the General Assembly from 11:30 to 2 o'clock. Due to the high number of attendees at this conference, it is important to designate one voting delegate and up to 2 alternates as soon as the conference information is made available, which it is right now. This allows the city to take advantage of the lower registration costs, and when feasible, Cal Cities arranges for a limited amount of hotel rooms that are available at reduced rates for registered conference participants. Once the city designates its voting delegate and alternates, they will attend the annual business meeting to vote on behalf of the city on the League of California Cities proposed resolutions. These resolutions will be made available at a future council meeting sometime in the fall, where the council will provide the city's voting delegate and alternates with direction. There is no significant economic impact. Budget impacts. In 2021, the cost to attend the League of California Cities conference in Sacramento was approximately $1,500 for 2 nights and $1,800 for 3 nights. In 2020, due to COVID, the conference was held virtually and we only spent $50 per person. In 2019, the cost to attend the League meeting in Long Beach was $2,000 for each council member. And based on the posted 2022 Cal Cities annual conference information, the cost for registration is $100 more than it was 2021. And I expect hotel room rates will also be going up as well, slightly. So with that, based on the posted information, we believe that the cost will be closer to 2019's cost, which is like $2,000 per person. City Attorney Pucci has reviewed this item and finds that the recommended action complies with the law. Staff recommends council to appoint the voting delegate and 1 to 2 alternates for the Cal Cities annual conference in September. I'm happy to answer any questions council may have for me at this time.
I'm happy to go and be the voting delegate. If Robin goes, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm happy to go. Who else wants to go?
I
I'd be-
have to go.
All right.
No, I mean, I'm already, where am I at here? I'll be Desert Mountain Division President
Okay.
for this, and I've been, as that member, put on the General Resolution Committee. So before you even get to vote, I have to go and listen to it and we tweak it and fine tune it.
Okay.
So I will be there for that, but
Yeah. I think we all should be able to go if we want to go. I mean, I really think we don't need to limit it to,
and like no skating or anything. We're just
That's
going-
exactly what I was just gonna say. My husband said I could go, but if I don't roller skate.
Go surfing.
can you ice skate?
Oh, God, no.
I fight for this every year. I think it's an investment that we need to make in our city. I'd like to see Destin attend also, just to the networking opportunities and the ideas that are just floating around, and other city administrators. And I think I'd like to see some.
Yeah.
At one point in time, it used to be all of the council and all the department heads and the city administrator all attended it.
Well, I think if we want to do that, we should.
Yeah,
If you think we have the budget for it.
yeah, we can afford to do it. And I think it would be nice if we could, and it totally, I mean, it's up to, I'm not sure what, I think it was like 08 or 09 when everything was kind of upside down is when we went back to like 2 people going, and
Right.
that was it.
I think it would be great just not only for all of us to go for knowledge, but also just, being together, a little team building, just, I think it would be great.
I think like a Ryan Jones dinner is always worth going to.
Yes, right. Will you host a dinner?
You can count on that for sure. And I would concur also that the team building is really hard to quantify how valuable that is. It's so hard. And there are exceptions to the Brown Act when it comes to conferences. So there's nothing illegal, nothing inappropriate about the council being together and having that opportunity to try to do some team building. But yes, the dinner will happen too.
Okay. So do we have to say who are the alternates?
If you could designate them, because I need to fill out the form. So I
Kim?
need to have the,
Can you be an alternate, given the fact that you're gonna be the,
All of us can. You guys can
Oh.
have a shot at it too. I got other stuff to do.
What? Yeah.
There's at least 2 alternates, so.
Well, why don't you guys be the alternates? Just,
You and I?
yeah,
Okay.
but then we'll budget for everyone to go.
Yes.
Okay,
Gotta share-
and
gotta
department
share the
heads if
fun.
they can. Yeah, okay. Great.
thank you very much.
So that is an action item, right? Okay.
yeah, it is. I would like to make a motion to appoint Mayor Schwartz as the voting delegate and Councilmember Cohen and Councilmember Garcia as alternates to attending the Cal Cities annual conference in September 2022.
Do we have any public comment? Okay. So,
Well, Without public comment, I will second that.
Okay.
Tammy?
all right. Future agenda item.
Oh, wait, I need to take the vote.
Oh, yeah, call for a vote.
Okay. Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes
Someone
4-0.
my child's home alone. Okay, so, okay, future agenda items. Anyone? No? Okay. Council and committee reports. Jose, let's start with you. We'll just work our way.
Okay.
Can
Let's,
we stop really quick, Jose?
yeah,
On future agenda items. I know we talked about in the past, code enforcement. And I know I've talked to Destin recently about, it's especially impactful when it's in the curbs, in the little right of way, the greenway on between a street and a residence, and weeds are this tall, grass is this tall.
yeah.
Is that something that we need to talk about within an ordinance to start saying, hey, people, Bishop's kind of looking.
I think we should talk about it. I see the point. Anytime I drive a Prius, which is kind of sits low to the ground. And anytime I like to make a left turn on East Pine Street onto Main Street, South Main, I have to almost be halfway into the road on Main Street because of those bushes there. They're kind of tall. And
Is this something we need to talk about, Destin, in the future, or do we have something in place already to?
I would have to look. I think if what we're talking here is, line of sight issues like that, those can be, that's clearly defined and that it can be taken care of. Some of it also though is, I think the one instance you're talking about at home in Grove is it's blocking the sidewalk after it gets growing pretty good. That again, we try to work with the homeowners first because Public Works, we're not tree trimmers or gardeners. We kind of tend to get everything out of the way. So we try to work with the homeowners so that there's no official, like we can send you a citation for it or something.
That was my question. And okay. So maybe let's look at it and you bring it back to us if it's
But
worth it.
talking to the homeowners usually works, right? Or has it not?
Most of the time it
Okay.
works. There's occasional times that we end up over there doing the work.
Well,
Okay.
it seems to me it could be something we also need to add to the conversation about vacant properties and about properties that are on the Airbnb list or short-term rentals, because often those are the same, they have the same issues. That there's nobody taking care of it when there's no one there.
Yeah.
it's the same property.
And we do have our new nuisance ordinance that can pick up, so, if it gets to
Mhm.
to that point that we can do it in that fashion as well.
Okay, Jose, I'm sorry, I got nothing else.
That's okay. Thank you. Briefly, since our last meeting, I attended the LTC meeting, the Bishop Ayut Tribe Law Enforcement meeting, and the Cal Cities meeting in Mammoth. I'll mention a couple of things about the Cal Cities. It's really an great opportunity, not only to meet people, but to learn from other city council members, mayors, staff, some of the challenges they face, some of the solutions they have, things that we can bring back to Bishop, to this council. So I'm enjoying being attending this meeting with Cal Cities at the Desert Mountain Division. So that's it. Short and brief and to the point.
Great. So I have only one thing to say tonight. So it's been a pretty difficult week. As a female, my world, my daughter's world, my granddaughter's world has been changed forever. Apparently, none of us still have any agency over our bodies any longer. I could get into it a lot and talk about the details of all of this, but I want to leave one thought out there. Currently in the United States, we have 450,000 children in foster care. These are the wanted children, the ones that the moms and dads thought they wanted to keep. And for whatever reason, those children are no longer able to reside with their parents. So I just want you all to imagine what a year or two from now could look like when people are forced to have children they did not plan for or cannot afford.
Jim?
I went to Cam and I attended the high school rodeo, and again, they did an amazing job. It was a great crowd. So, and Bishop is well represented, and the people are happy. Second thing, on the Desert Mountain Division, I did attend a meeting in Mammoth. I sent Destin some information on that and briefly spoke with you. They had an amazing presentation on the housing that they're doing up there, and kind of go through the steps of where it started, the thought process that went into actually getting there, and I guess it would be the foresight to see the need, and they took advantage. They made commitments at a council level to fix a problem, but there were some great ideas that came out of there. I've asked Destin to kind of reach out to that to study what they're doing, because I think Jose, I think Robin, we're all kind of taken back, like, wow, they are doing a lot of stuff right. And it does impact Bishop what they're doing, because they were pretty blunt about that. Their problem has become our problem because, hey, move down to Bishop, find a house maybe. So, but they are addressing it. It's moving forward quickly. And I think it was great. And the Desert Mountain Division component, again, I will be assuming a role of presidents within that group. And Jose brought up, I have a list here somewhere of all the resolutions. We're going to probably get a little, maybe not get more involved, but pay attention to what's going on, because our division encompasses Mammoth, Bishop, all the way down to Needles, the whole area down there. And what is coming out of Sacramento does maybe not impact us today, but it's setting tones, and without a group speaking up and saying something. So I think our voice sometimes will help out our members within our community, but also help kind of control the balance for, it might not be our issue per se, but why stop it, saying no more, you can't move, you can't do anything with the yucca tree. Now you can't do anything with the pine tree and with this little bush, and it could start affecting things. So for future, we'll, Jose and I, at least will try to keep the council updated on what's going on there as stuff comes out.
Okay.
So all you, Karen.
I thoroughly enjoyed serving at the high school rodeo. It was just those participants, they're so full of bling and so excited. It was really fun. So hats off to the chamber for really putting on a huge, huge event. And other than that, I had a nice and quiet week for the city. We have a city county liaison meeting on Thursday, and I look forward to our meeting in July and then our break. But that's it. I have nothing else. So with that, I'll adjourn our meeting to Monday, July 11th, 2022, here in the city council chambers at 6 p.m.
Have a good night. Good to see you all.
Night.
Thanks, Rob. Happy anniversary, Rich.